Dealing with ugly situations begins with an undeniable truth. You have to face the reality of the situation, no matter how much it hurts or how uncomfortable it makes you. The first instinct in any tough moment is often to look away, to pretend that it's not happening, or to hope it will resolve itself on its own. We live in a world that often encourages us to avoid pain, to seek comfort, and to keep moving forward without slowing down. But the reality is that avoidance never works in the long run. If you don't face what's in front of you, you give it more power over you. You allow the problem to grow, to fester, and to eventually control your life in ways you can't predict. The truth is, no matter how ugly the situation, pretending it doesn't exist will only make it worse. This doesn't mean you have to be okay with it or even accept it immediately, but you must acknowledge it. Recognition is the first step toward resolution. If something isn't working in your life, if you're stuck in a situation that's uncomfortable, frustrating, or painful, the best thing you can do is face it square in the eyes. It's easy to get caught up in denial, to tell yourself that everything is fine, when deep down, you know it isn't. The problem is that while you're telling yourself that lie, the situation continues to grow in power. It builds momentum. The longer you refuse to confront it, the more it consumes you, until it's no longer just a problem, it becomes a crisis. Facing reality means telling yourself the truth. It's admitting when things are falling apart, when you've made mistakes, when you've failed. It's saying, yes, this is hard. Yes, this hurts. Yes, this situation is more than I bargained for. But in that admission, there is freedom. Because once you see things clearly, once you allow yourself to acknowledge the truth, you give yourself the opportunity to change. Ignoring the truth doesn't make the situation any less real. It just means you're avoiding the work it takes to make it better. That's where the real struggle begins. When you finally look at what's in front of you, accept that it's not ideal, but decide you're going to deal with it anyway. This is where strength starts to form. Strength isn't just about pushing through, pretending like nothing's wrong, or forcing a smile on your face. Strength is recognizing the situation for what it is and still choosing to step forward. You don't have to like it. You don't have to accept it right away, but you do have to acknowledge that it's there. And once you do, you give yourself the opportunity to make a choice. Because at the end of the day, you have a choice to let the situation control you or to take control of it. Acknowledging the ugly situation doesn't mean you have all the answers. It doesn't mean you know exactly what to do next. It just means you're willing to stop running away from it. When you face reality, you begin to see all the options you may have been ignoring. Often we run away from what's hard because we fear the unknown, the uncertainty, or even the possibility of failure. But by acknowledging the truth, you bring that fear into the light. And when it's out in the open, it loses its grip on you. It no longer holds the power to paralyze you. You can now look at it, inspect it, and start to plan your next steps. The unknown becomes less daunting because you've already taken the hardest step. You've looked at the situation, accepted that it's real, and prepared to deal with it. Embracing the struggle is not about enjoying pain or discomfort. It's about understanding that struggles are necessary for growth. Life is filled with challenges, and while we often wish for an easy road, it's the difficult moments that truly shape us. There's a tendency to see struggles as setbacks, as obstacles that get in the way of where we want to go. But in reality, they are part of the journey. Without them, there's no development, no refinement, and no strength. Struggles are the fire that molds character, the pressure that creates resilience, and the force that pushes you beyond your limits. When you find yourself in a tough situation, it's natural to want to escape it, to wish it away, or to look for shortcuts. But every time you try to avoid the struggle, you miss the opportunity to grow. Growth doesn't happen in comfort. It doesn't happen when everything is going smoothly and there's no resistance. It happens when you're forced to confront your weaknesses, when you're pushed beyond what you thought you could handle, and when you're tested in ways that make you question your own limits. Struggles expose the gaps in your knowledge, the flaws in your approach, and the areas where you need to improve. They reveal the truth about who you are and what you're capable of. There's a lesson in every struggle, but the challenge is to find it. It's easy to focus on the pain, the frustration, or the inconvenience, but if you take a step back and look deeper, you'll see that every struggle carries an opportunity. It might be the chance to learn a new skill, to develop patience, to build resilience, or to gain perspective. The lesson isn't always obvious, and it's not always immediate, but it's there if you're willing to look for it. The key is to stop resisting the struggle and start embracing it as part of the process. Struggles also teach you about perseverance. They show you that even when things are hard, even when it feels like you're not making progress, you can keep going. Perseverance is a muscle, and the only way to strengthen it is through use. Every time you face a struggle and choose to keep moving forward, you're building that muscle. You're proving to yourself that you're stronger than you thought, that you can handle more than you imagined, and that you're capable of pushing through even when it feels impossible. Over time, that perseverance becomes a part of who you are. It becomes the foundation of your strength, the thing you can rely on when times get tough. Struggles also have a way of clarifying what really matters. When you're faced with a challenge, you're forced to prioritize. You can't focus on everything, so you learn to focus on what's most important. You learn to let go of the distractions, the unnecessary worries, and the things that don't serve you. Struggles strip away the superficial and bring you face to face with what truly matters. They remind you of your purpose, your goals, and your values. In the process, they help you align your actions with your priorities. It's also important to recognize that struggles are temporary. They may feel overwhelming in the moment, but they don't last forever. What does last is the growth that comes from them. The lessons you learn, the strength you build, and the perspective you gain stay with you long after the struggle has passed. Each challenge prepares you for the next one, and over time, you become better equipped to handle whatever comes your way. You start to see struggles not as obstacles, but as opportunities for growth, as moments that push you closer to becoming the person you're meant to be. Taking ownership is one of the most critical steps in navigating ugly situations. It means stepping up and accepting responsibility for your actions, your choices, and the way you respond to what's happening around you. It's easy to blame others or external circumstances when things go wrong. Human nature often drives us to shift the burden onto something or someone else, to find an excuse that absolves us of accountability. But the truth is, the moment you start pointing fingers, you give away your power. You hand control of your situation to someone or something else, and that leaves you stuck. Ownership is about reclaiming that power and acknowledging that while you can't control everything that happens, you always have control over how you respond. When you take ownership, you stop being a passive participant in your own life. You begin to recognize that your choices matter, that your actions have consequences, and that the way you handle adversity shapes your path forward. It's not about taking the blame for things that aren't your fault, but it is about taking responsibility for how you react to them. For example, if you're in a difficult work environment, you may not have created the toxic culture, but you do have a choice in how you navigate it. You can either let it defeat you, or you can decide to take control of what's within your power, your attitude, your actions, and your decisions about your future. Ownership is also about being honest with yourself. It requires you to look at your role in the situation and ask hard questions. What choices did you make that contributed to where you are now? What patterns or habits might be holding you back? It's not always easy to confront these truths, especially when they reveal areas where you've fallen short. But without this honesty, there's no path to improvement. Taking ownership means recognizing that growth starts with self-awarenesses. It's about admitting your flaws, owning up to your mistakes, and committing to doing better moving forward. One of the most empowering aspects of taking ownership is that it puts you in the driver's seat. When you accept responsibility, you take control of your narrative. You stop being a victim of circumstances and start becoming the author of your story. No matter how difficult the situation, ownership allows you to shift your perspective from, "Why is this happening to me?" to, "What can I do about this?" That shift is powerful because it transforms you from a passive observer to an active problem solver. It gives you a sense of agency, even in situations that feel overwhelming. Ownership also strengthens your character. It shows that you're willing to be accountable, not just to others, but to yourself. People who take ownership earn respect because they don't make excuses or shy away from responsibility. They face challenges head on and work to find solutions rather than dwelling on problems. This mindset not only helps you navigate tough situations, but also builds trust and credibility with those around you. People know they can count on you because you've proven that you'll take responsibility even when it's uncomfortable. Taking ownership doesn't mean you have to do everything alone. In fact, part of ownership is recognizing when you need help and being willing to ask for it. It's about understanding that accountability doesn't equal isolation. You can still take responsibility for your situation while seeking support, guidance, or resources to help you move forward. This willingness to own your role while also collaborating with others is a sign of strength, not weakness. It shows that you're committed to finding solutions and that you value progress over pride. Ultimately, taking ownership is about empowerment. It's a decision to stop waiting for someone else to fix the problem and instead take action yourself. It's a choice to face the reality of your situation, to accept your role in it, and to commit to making the changes necessary to move forward. Staying focused on your purpose is essential when you're navigating ugly situations. It's easy to lose sight of what really matters when life throws chaos and challenges your way. The distractions, frustrations, and pressures of difficult times can pull you in so many directions that you forget why you started in the first place. But your purpose, your core reason for doing what you do, is your anchor. It's the thing that keeps you grounded when everything else feels like it's spinning out of control. Without that anchor, it's far too easy to drift, to lose momentum, and to let the situation dictate your actions instead of staying true to your goals. When you're in the midst of adversity, the first step to staying focused on your purpose is to remind yourself why you're doing what you're doing. What's the bigger picture? What's the end goal you're working toward? It's not always easy to see the finish line when you're surrounded by obstacles. But taking a moment to reconnect with your purpose can give you clarity. It's like zooming out on a map to see the entire route instead of just the roadblocks right in front of you. That clarity helps you make better decisions, prioritize your efforts, and push through the distractions that might otherwise derail you. Purpose gives you direction. When you're clear about what you're working toward, you can filter out the noise and focus on what truly matters. Not every problem deserves your attention, and not every setback is worth your energy. Some challenges are just distractions in disguise, pulling you away from the path you need to be on. By staying connected to your purpose, you can recognize which battles are worth fighting and which ones you can let go of. This focus allows you to conserve your energy for the things that will actually move you closer to your goals, rather than wasting it on things that don't matter in the long run. Adversity often tests your commitment to your purpose. It's in the tough moments that you find out how much you really care about what you're doing. If your purpose is weak or unclear, it's easy to give up when things get hard. But if your purpose is strong, if it's rooted in something meaningful and personal, it becomes a source of strength. It gives you the motivation. Purpose is what turns "I have to" into "I want to." It shifts your perspective from seeing challenges as burdens to seeing them as stepping stones on the path to something greater. Staying focused on your purpose also helps you maintain your integrity. In difficult situations, there's often a temptation to take shortcuts, to compromise your values, or to stray from the principles that matter to you. The pressure to fix things quickly or to escape the discomfort can lead you to make decisions that you might regret later. But when you're clear about your purpose, it becomes a guiding light that helps you stay true to yourself. It reminds you of who you are, what you stand for, and why you started on this journey in the first place. That clarity keeps you aligned with your values, even when the path forward isn't easy. Purpose also has a way of inspiring resilience. When you're deeply connected to why you're doing something, you find reserves of strength and determination you didn't know you had. It's not just about pushing through for the sake of it. It's about knowing that every step you take, no matter how small, is bringing you closer to something that truly matters. This sense of meaning and fulfillment gives you the courage to face challenges head on and the patience to endure setbacks, because you know that the struggle is part of the process.